Welcome, everybody, to the Orange Wheel podcast. I'm Ted, and this is the podcast where we support business leaders in understanding Bitcoin and the monetary transition. Joined today by Max Possegger. Max is a co-founder of Hashlink, which is a company with a pretty interesting solution in the area of Bitcoin mining and heat generation. Max, welcome to the podcast.
Hey Ted, thank you for having me today.
Amazing. How are you doing today?
Really good, really good. Pretty nice weather out there. Solar system is producing energy and we are right now heating with our energy solution downstairs.
Amazing. And you're in Austria at the moment, yeah?
Yeah, we're in Austria right now, in Carinthia to be exact, in Spital an der Drau.
Cool. So for people who might not be familiar with Austrian geography, Carinthia is located in the south-central portion, bordering up on Slovenia. Is that correct?
Slovenia and Italy, yes.
Okay, very cool. Amazing. So yeah, you're here to kind of talk about you and about Hashlink, really diving into this kind of intersection of energy and renewable infrastructure and Bitcoin. So Max, maybe give us a bit of a background about kind of yourself and how you got into Bitcoin and maybe the elevator pitch on Hashlink.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Max Possegger. I'm now currently working at Hashlink in the technical office and overseeing all our technical projects that we are developing right now. And I have worked in the automation and machine building industry for now 15 years approximately. And my experience reaches from building recycling machines for different recycling solutions up to whole factory plannings and production optimization from those production areas inside the factories. And 1 year ago, me, Tom, and Matthias started Hashlink. Officially, the project was founded 3 years ago under cover because we wanted to flesh out our products before we show it to the public. And what we are doing at Hashlink is we are trying to solve the problem of the renewable energy curtailment. So we all see it pretty often right now that we are facing a harsh problem with the production value of renewable energy. The energy itself isn't worth much anymore, especially in Austria. We are now talking about 1 cent per kilowatt for private production, and this is pretty bad, especially when you invested 2 years ago in a big renewable energy plant and now your energy isn't worth anything because you calculated with 20 cents back then, basically, and now you're going down and it's not stopping. They're already updated the values towards below 1 cent, and we're trying to solve this problem with the combination of Bitcoin mining and heat recovery. So what we are doing is we're trying to present or give the customer a plug-and-play solution where he's able to put the machine into his energy system, and just by press of the button he is getting Bitcoin out of his overproduced energy and also is heating his house or his factory with the energy that was produced in the Bitcoin miner itself.
Awesome. Yeah, I had the chance to kind of see one of these units live in Ingolstadt at Bitcoin Forum happening there a few weeks ago. And that's where I got to meet Max and your colleagues, or your co-founders, Tom and, sorry, what was the other gentleman's name? Tom?
Matthias, yes. And I think you talked with Moritz as well,
Moritz
our software developer.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, very very technically strong team from what I could tell, and really great bunch of guys. So a little bit more on kind of the founding of the business. How did you know these other co-founders? And from you personally, what really inspired you to begin Hashlink? I mean, I understand the problem you're solving and kind of addressing that, but was from a personal standpoint, you were in big industry for a long period of time, so what was really the big motivating factor?
It's a really funny story. So me and Tom and Matthias were in the same friends group. And one day, we were sitting with some beer in the garden. And Tom just talked about how he went through the winter with his Bitcoin miner, because Tom was that guy that started the whole Bitcoin mining idea. He is mining in his basement because the base problem was he has a 20 kilowatt photovoltaics on his roof, and he wasn't getting anything out of it. And so he thought about ways to monetize the energy on the other way. And that's when he started with Bitcoin mining. And at first, he was putting the miners up to his chimney and heating up the chimney. And then he saw the heat inside the chimney itself is heating up the house. And then at this day, he said to me, Max, I have a good idea. Can we build the machinery? Because I know you are in the machining building factory. So what is your take on this? And that's how it started. Then we started in the basement, building things together, testing things. And after 1.5 years, the idea to the EcoHash, our first machinery product, was born.
Yeah, very cool. That's quite the story, right? Yeah, and EcoHash, that was the unit that I got the tour of. Very, very nice design, very sleek, looks very good. And I got the full tour. It was really, really cool stuff. Maybe coming back to this kind of market problem we're seeing in terms of the pricing of renewable power, maybe it's worth explaining what is the reason why prices are so much lower than most people expected when they invested in their solar panels or other generation.
The main problem is that, especially in the solar industry, on the day when there is a lot of wind, a lot of water, and a lot of sun, the energy production ramps up, and we are often more producing than we need under the day, and this makes pressure on the price, and the price goes down. And when the price goes down, you won't receive anything from it, basically from the market itself, because the market says, I don't need energy. And a lot of the time also we are exporting the energy to other countries. A big topic from a country that I know is Bavaria. Bavaria is producing a lot of energy under the day, sells it to Austria to save it in the hydraulic plants with water. And in the night, Bavaria is buying back the energy it's sold to Austria under the day for a much higher price.
Good for Austria.
Yeah, good for Austria, bad for Bavaria, but that's how it is handled right now in the energy market. And we see this a lot of times in the private sector, also in regulations, because the power grid companies are saying we have first a technical problem with all our limits in the power grid, because the power grid can only transport a limited amount of energy, and when we reach this limit, we need to turn off some of the energy producing facilities. And the first step is to limit big companies, and the big companies are also those people that are hurt the most by those regulations when they shut down the factories, because it costs money. For example, we know it from a market research we did 2 years ago from a big energy company. Approximately per day, they're paying 30,000 euros for just standing still equipment, for maintenance, for lost revenue. And this is a lot of money per day for a company that size. And this is the first problem. The second problem is the value of the renewable energy itself goes down with the pricing of the market, and even less people are thinking about building renewable energy plants because of this limitation.
Yeah, fascinating. And so I guess there was this, and this is my sort of understanding of the kind of how how this is sort of played out, right? There were sort of incentives in a lot of countries. I don't know if it was the case in Austria as well, for a lot of people to build out both at industrial scale and utility scale, as well as personal scale solar cells or plants or just solar panels. But then, yes, because of the way it's live pricing, and when the sun's shining, everybody's producing lots of electricity and drives the price down. And then when the sun's not shining, prices will go up, but you're not producing from your solar panels. So people kind of had one assumption about pricing when they invested, and then the subsidies a component as well. Have subsidies sort of like incentivized a lot of people to invest also at the kind of individual and commercial scale? And are the subsidies still present? How are they structured maybe in Austria, if there were any?
They are still present, but the regulatory side is changing pretty fast. The politics in the past 2 years said to the public that it's important that we build up our renewable energy sources. The people did, and right now they're seeing we did a little oopsie there. We didn't regulate it quite good, and now they are changing the regulatories to the worse. So they want to charge, for example, for grid usage. Right now in Austria, it's annually. So you're annually paying a certain amount of euros to the energy grid companies. But now they want to change it per produced kilowatt. This drives the cost up pretty heavily for those industry producers because they are producing a lot, mainly for the grid. And yeah, we will see how this plays out. It's not official yet. So they are right now in the, I think, second feedback loop. But when it gets published like it is right now, this will be a pretty bad game changer, to be honest, for energy, for future renewable plants in Austria.
Interesting. And then you mentioned like companies will have to curtail their production when there's too much supply of electricity going into the grid. Is there payments made to companies for curtailing production? Is there some sort of reimbursement from the TSO in any regard?
No, it's a gray space. This question is asked a lot, but the grid companies that are maintaining the power grid are saying it's your fault because we are giving you certain amount of energy that you have to produce, and when you go over it, we can't do anything about it. And the energy production company says it's your fault because you knew that we were building this plant of this size, and why don't you offer us the infrastructure that we need to produce this energy? And it's not regulated right now, but I think it would change in the future. And this is one of the options that could bring a little bit of relief to the whole situation. Or it can be gas in the fire and heat up it more, because on the grid side, you can't build the grid faster. It's a long process, especially for transformation, on the transformation point from the energy side. The transformators delivery time up to 5 years. And if you have to plan that long into the future, the problem is right now, that's the biggest issue right now.
Yeah, and certainly on a present value basis, the value of cash flows 5 years from now are not worth much. So maybe then let's kind of double click then on the EcoHash. So we understand a little bit this macro problem happening. I think largely all across Europe, or certainly in Central and Northern Europe, with kind of a large scale build out of volatile supply in renewable infrastructure. Renewable infrastructure that creates volatile supply of electricity intraday and over the course of the year. So Hashlink, maybe articulate, what is the design of the unit or the key components, and then how does it kind of help to solve this problem?
So in Hashlink, we have two products for two separated problems. The first one is the EcoHash. The EcoHash is our machinery platform that combines Bitcoin mining with industrial standards and machine building components. It's a plug-and-play solution and consists out of three parts. The first part is the heating part, where all the miners are contained and are producing heat energy and consuming electrical energy. The second part is the heat exchanger part, where we enable our platforms to deliver this contained energy to a external heating system. And the last part is our optimization part, where we pack all electrical safety components inside. Because as I said, it's a plug and play system, and when the customer buys the system, he doesn't need to think about electrical structure of his system, just integrates our system into his already existing system, and that's it. And what we were aiming for it is three things. The first thing is plug and play compatibility. So we don't want the customer to waste any thoughts in how to optimize this product when I buy it. It should be optimized as it is. The second is scalability. We are able to scale the EcoHash from 20 kilowatts to 60, up to 60. And also when you have already 60 kilowatt EcoHash inside your energy system, you are able to multiply it per any number you wish, because they are interconnected and communicating with each other. The third thing is we are aiming for a certain standard, because we know when we bring a new technology inside the industry sector, they are looking at those standards and deciding based on this if they're going to buy it or not. And this is why we are producing to such high standards right now.
Very cool. Yeah, so that's great. Those kind of three, and that's the EchoHash. Maybe it's worth, we'll kind of double click into that in a moment. But you mentioned there's a second product that addresses a second problem. Maybe just touch on that one.
The Hashlink is our second product. It's our optimization solution for the whole mining process, because the fourth thing we thought about when we were designing those products is how are we able to get the human as much as possible out of the mining process, because it's really tedious to set up a big chunk of miner to get optimized to your energy production area, especially in the solar systems, because it's so volatile over the day. Just a cloud in front of the sun messes you up the whole energy value. And this is where Hashlink comes in. Hashlink is our self-programmed algorithm that contains all necessary measurements from your energy system and controls the miner energy based on those measurements.
Very cool. So you have your own logic on the control loops that are designed there. That's Hashlink, and so that's independent theoretically of the EchoHash hardware. A company could get the software only. Is that how I'm understanding that? Yes,
right. The EchoHash has the Hashlink already on board. This is how we enable our platforms to adjust to the producing value. But also you can acquire the controller itself, only the controller with the software, if you already have a mining facility, for example, that runs on renewable energy, or if you are planning to optimize your renewable energy source at home, for example.
Okay, really cool. And I guess there might need to be some new sensors put in and stuff into the system to be able to get the data if it's not already there, or is it the data already standard in any mining setup?
Yeah, we have two ways to gather those informations. The first is if you, a lot of the time, if you have such a renewable energy source, you already have a certain kind of measurement system placed in there. The frequency converter, for example, has a Fronius or Victron have already some of those components on board, also Huawei. But we are also offering our customers, if they don't have those options, to refit the system so that we can implement a point where we gather those measurements for our system by ourselves.
Okay, cool. So then let's now look at the EchoHash here. So the three components, we got the mining, the heating, and then the control, logic, and optimization. So maybe it's worth just thinking physically, like what is this? And you mentioned the modularization of these units. Each module can go up to, how many kilovolts?
60
kilovolts. And then what's the kind of, to give the audience a little bit of an impression, what's the dimensions of one of these units?
They are as big as two refrigerators when you stand them up against each other. So it has a measurement of, we are filling a space of 1 by 1 meter, so a roundabout, and it's quite big for home mining, for example. But in a industrial case, it's pretty tiny for its energy consumption. 60 kilowatts is a big chunk of energy. And if you compare it to industrial solution in this energy density, we are actually one of the tinier solutions out there.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I wouldn't know if I want one of these units in my living room, for example, but yeah, for 60 kilovolts in an industrial or commercial application, it is quite compact. And so now let's kind of just if we double click on the mining side now and kind of look at the mining component, kind of two things here, right? So one is that I guess to get the heat out of the miners, it's immersed in so maybe it's worth explaining a little bit about that interlink between the mining and the heating systems.
So the main component that transports the energy away from the Bitcoin miner is the electricum. So it's not conductive, and this liquid is getting heated up like a water boiler by the miners. And we have a patented cassette technology where we are housing those miners inside. And on the left side, we're sucking the warm liquid out of the cassette with a integrated pump and pressing it onto a plated heat exchanger that enables us to deliver the energy to an external system. And also this integrated pump is bringing back the cooled liquid into the cassette again, where we press it into the cassette from underneath into the miner again. And this is the circular that we are using inside our systems right now.
Very cool. We'll kind of get onto the heating applications in a bit and some of the specs on the heat. But if the source of the electricity, if I understand this properly, is primarily going to be, let's say, for example, solar power from the site, does that mean then that the control loop is changing how many chips are running at any given time, given the amount of supply of electricity that's coming in, given that that's a variable?
Not only the current, but also the energy, and not on chip based, it's on miner based. So we are supporting 9 miners in the system, and those miners are separately controlled by energy. When our algorithm says we are able to use 10 kilowatts of power, all 9 miners are distributed equally with those 10 kilowatts and are operating then on about 1 kilowatt per unit. This is how we are setting up our automation and our energy disruption there.
Okay, so it's not that certain miners are getting on off. It's actually more of a continuous spectrum where they all scale up and down together.
Yes, exactly.
And that's proportionate to the amount of hash power that they generate. Okay. Got it. Okay, so then on the heating side of things, what kind of temperature can you bring the hot water that is being circulated through the house or home or building?
Yeah.
And I guess also maybe that's for the first question, the temperature.
The maximum amount of energy we're getting out of it is 80 degrees. So this is the maximum system temperature that we are allowed to run right now.
Okay.
And it can depend. So you can regulate it from 30 to 80, upwards to 80, because we have also a integrated cooling mechanism inside our system that enables the system to independently cool itself from the external factor, and that allows you to regulate the temperature as you wish.
Got it. Because I guess if you don't have that ability to cool it, is there a risk then that the miners overheat because the cooling fluid's not being cooled enough?
Yep. Especially in the summer, a lot of customers are asking us, what are we doing, or what am I doing with the energy in the summer? There are no worries. You have at first the integrated cooling mechanism that can cool down the system, and per plug and play you can also build in external units if there are any already, because in the industry it's quite common to have coolers outside of the factory cooling factory equipment, and on this cooler you can implement the EchoHash as well out of the stock.
Got it. And then with the hot water, what kind of applications are then supported by this hot water with some of the projects that you're currently deploying the EchoHash onto?
It's really different. So it's a broad spectrum of things you can do with this energy. For example, one of our pilot customers is using it to heat a big spa pool. So it's a 10,000 liter tank installed in his basement, and a capacity of those 3 machines he has right now is to heat up this tank. The most common use is to support already implemented heating solutions. For example, a gas boiler or a electrified heating system is supported by our system. The cold water that's coming out of the building is heated up by the EchoHash. So the primary heating solution is not activated that often. That saves you a lot of heating money or heating costs, basically.
And just so I understand a little bit of the design then setup, this is getting very technical, I guess. I'm just trying to understand in my head. Is it one hot water loop of piping that then you'll kind of somewhere along there, you'll plummet into in and out of the EcoHash? Or is it a second loop altogether that's running independently?
Yeah, we have two loops. So in the first loop, there is our fluid running
Yeah.
that cools the miner. And on the second loop, the external system is plugged in because we need to technically separate those two fluids.
Yeah.
Because when you get the heating water inside our main circular liquid, it will get conductive over time. This is not good.
Yes. Okay. No, I understand that. I was just thinking more on the heating application side.
Mm-hmm.
If you are having a conventional boiler system, then I guess it's just one loop of the hot water system that I guess you're kind of disconnecting the loop and plugging it into the EchoHash. Okay. It's not like a separate heating loop. It's just the same hot water loop. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And then, so if the miners are only they're running a variable, sometimes they're fully on 100%, sometimes they're in between 0 and 10%. I think it's just sometimes when they're just not running at all. Then the other traditional heating system will also has some sort of a regulator system on it to know when to turn on to heat the system. Okay, got it. Very cool. Nice. So then maybe if you look at kind of the economics behind this, right? So like, have you done any sort of estimates to know kind of what the typical kind of payout period might be, and what variables really drive the economic return of the investment?
To give a overall view is pretty hard because it depends on the project itself. What do I mean by that? We have a broad variety of energy systems ranging from 100 kilowatts to 2 megawatts of energy production. Also, a big factor is energy savings. Do you have a battery system implemented into your system? Are you able to save energy for evening, for example, or for less sunnier hours? But our return of investment reaches from, in the best case, 2 years, and in the worst case, 8 years around this. We're talking about a 60 kilowatts hash, so a fully fleshed out machine. At the Hashlink side, it also depends on how much miner you are optimizing your system with, but it also ranges from 1.5 years up to 8 years.
Okay, very cool. And it makes sense that there's quite a big range, I suppose, given that there are a lot of variables and uncertainty there. So if we look at kind of the projects that you're starting to deploy on, and the people that are interested in investing in the EcoHash units, to what extent are they already kind of aware of Bitcoin and as a money, as the future, as a monetary technology, versus really just interested in their immediate problem of, are they kind of independent, are they agnostic about the Bitcoin side of things and really just saying, I need to improve the economics on my already invested capital of solar panel?
This was one of our biggest problems beside the technical issue, because we know Bitcoin has a strange standing right now outside of the Bitcoin space, because it's really negatively cited right now in the public mind. And for us, it's important that the customer, because we don't have a lot of Bitcoin-based customers, so you're coming from the industry and just want to optimize their energy production a lot of times, or they want to set up a whole energy project, as we will see with our pilot customer. And we saw that when the customer understands the value of the technical solution, and if this meets certain standards, Bitcoin is not that big of a deal anymore, because they automatically understand, okay, there's value to make, and how this value is getting to me doesn't play a pivotal role for me anymore. And this is how they start to invest themselves in Bitcoin. And our first pilot customer has never heard of Bitcoin before he met us, and now he's really into this whole kind of technology, but not from the value standpoint. It's based on the technical standpoint.
Okay,
and
fascinating.
This is how we wanted to use the Bitcoin technology, first and foremost from the technology standpoint. It enables us to use a lot of energy on a small scale, on a small value base, but also it provides a lot of extra value for your energy.
And so does the customer ever need to necessarily even how does the actual exchange of the Bitcoin that's mined to euros that ends up in the customer's bank account, how does that kind of process flow work?
We have two options. The first option is that the customer is watching over his own Bitcoins. So if he has a hardware wallet, or if he wants to set up a hardware wallet by himself, it's okay. You can set up the pool of the miners by yourself. It isn't preset from our factory. And the other way is when you want to just get the euros out of it, we have partners inside our network, banking partners that can support you with the onboarding session, and you get a hardware wallet based as a bank account basically. And if this account reaches a certain amount of euro value, you get the euros out of it automatically on a certain time base.
Okay. Got it. So it's one they're a bit more in control, and then kind of they can manage their own wallet however they wish. It just kind of ends up going there. And then the other one is a little bit more hands off, where it's just sort of there's sort of a custodian is not the right word, I guess, or maybe it is. I guess the bank sort of manages the wallet and the private keys, and then they just kind of like distribute they'll exchange it and give the euros to the bank account of the client. Is that how that second option works, or?
The private keys is still with you. This account belongs to you, but you have a option to automatically liquidate all the value that is on this account by a certain amount, basically. Okay. It's still your wallet. It's not in the possession of the other company, but they help you selling those values on time.
Really cool. Right. So how are you finding what's the kind of growth ambition now of Hashlink? Where do you kind of intend to kind of take this? Are you taking the existing product that you have and kind of rolling that out within Austria, Germany, the German-speaking world, or do you have preferential markets? And then, is there different kind of market segments? Maybe the software in particular is this other aspect, and how are you going about marketing and selling that one?
So we are planning right now to release our products in Austria, Germany, and maybe Switzerland. Switzerland is planned, but we are checking the regulatories down there to see if it's fitting for us. And how are we going to do this? The first thing is we're selling inside our network with certified partners, and also across the Siemens Accelerator platform, where you can buy those products directly from this accelerator marketplace. And for the future releases, we're aiming at the same steps. So first is the pilot project phase, where we're currently right now with EcoHash and Hashlink, where we only sell to pre-checked customers that we think are most fitting for our project. And after this, we're releasing the product into the market itself.
Super cool. Is there different licenses or some sort of, I guess licenses would be the word, that you need for each market? Or do you need to change the design slightly for each market? Or what restricts you from going into different markets?
Basically the electrical regulatories of each market, because yes, there are international valid norms that you can fit, but when you have local governments that exceed those requirements, only the local requirements are to be fitted to your machine, and that's a big problem because especially in France or in England, you have certain kind of norms or regulations that you don't find in the international ones. This makes it really hard to release a industrial product across multiple markets, and we have a big benefit in Austria and Germany because those markets are pretty nearly the same, and if there is a norm higher than the international norm, it's most likely the Austrian one. And when you apply to Austrian norms, the German says it's fine because they have a really high standard.
Cool. Yeah. And what's maybe like some of the most interesting applications that you've sort of seen these Hashlink either, considered for, I guess, maybe, or actually developed within or integrated within? You mentioned the spa pool. That sounded pretty cool. Happy to learn more about that one, or maybe there's some other interesting customers or potential customers you've spoken with so far.
Yeah, we can dive into this pool segment because it's not just a pool in this project. It's a whole energy project, to be precise. It's a hotel facility that aims to fully electrify itself so that they can independently produce their own energy. And they are accomplishing this with a 2 megawatt solar system integrated into a 1 megawatt battery storage system. Also, they are offering 10 electrical charging points for their electrical fleet electrical vehicle fleet, also for their customers. And what they are also aiming at is to get rid of their old oil-based heating system, because they right now have two systems. They have one run by wood, so wood burning, and the other one is oil-based. And this oil-based section is getting replaced by our solution. And this right now is one of our biggest projects yet to be implemented. A other project is near our headquarters. It's a wood factory, and this wood factory also aims to implement a lot of photovoltaics on their roofs. And with Hashlink, with the integration of only the Hashlink system and a container-based solution, we are trying to optimize this future project for more money, basically, for the owner.
Awesome. So you get some of their more commercial applications like hotels, and also industrial applications like a wood. Is it a sawmill? Is it kind of where they go to cut the logs? Is that
cutting and also drying? So they have a big oven where they place the wood inside and just drying up to get rid of all the moisture and water found inside the wood.
Very cool. No, that's awesome to hear that. And so now, it's 2025 now. Where do you expect Hashlink to be by 2030, let's say, in terms of scale and so forth?
Pretty hard to say, because when I look back at the past year, we went from only prototyping to market readiness in nearly 1 year. And at the starting of this year, we weren't even sure about how well we can get integrated into the market. And right now we are standing in front of 10 projects that could be implemented with EchoHash and Hashlink. So it's pretty hard to say, but if the forecast is right, we have a pretty bright future.
Yeah, sounds like that. I mean, it sounds like it's small but scaling quick, which is great to see. So now, I mean, within Europe in general, it seems as though this is Hashlink's a great example of the opportunity for renewable energy infrastructure to have its economics improved, for there to be more value coming out of the energy systems, both in terms of heat, Bitcoin, electricity optimization. But what do you think are the big barriers preventing more widespread acknowledgement of these types of solutions?
The biggest problem, I think, in Austria and especially in Germany, is the thinking in absolutes. So if people are hearing about a new kind of technology, they automatically fall into the trap. If the solution is good, this is the one and only solution, and not quite thinking in systemic terms, where they see those systems as plugs and they need to plug those plugs together to create a whole system. This is what we want also for our future and the future of energy utilization, where we can offer a variety of different systems, where you can build certain solutions together to create your perfect energy utilization system. And this is one of the biggest barriers I think we have right now that we need to face in the future.
Yeah, because the energy systems are quite complex in nature, right? It's not like just buying an iPhone and be like, I just want the iPhone. Yeah. Give me the iPhone.
Exactly.
Right. You have to understand the current client's circumstances and then design something that really fits within that greater system. So that's really cool. I feel the same way about the work we do with companies to understand Bitcoin strategies. It's similar, right? I think many people like thinking about that Bitcoin for corporations is what Michael Saylor's doing. It's that or nothing, right?
Exactly.
Many different things that can be applied, and it really depends on what your goals are and what your current circumstances are and so forth, right? And there's so many different aspects that Bitcoin can become into. Mining, I think, is a really interesting vertical that we're really focusing on, but there's also the treasury side, the payment side, communications, and strategy side. So Hashlink as a business, how do you guys think about building your company, like thinking about Bitcoin as a money? Do you guys capitalize yourselves on Bitcoin? Do you retain your earnings in Bitcoin? How do you guys think about Bitcoin from your own business, corporate finance perspective?
No, we're not financing anything with Bitcoin right now. So the base finance model is you're buying the machine from us and we're building it for you. Also the project side. So we are offering our know-how and our planning capabilities for different kind of applications to help the customer achieve his goals, either with Bitcoin mining or energy production. And this is where we aim right now to get our finances back.
Yeah, because you're not really cash flow positive yet. You're still kind of in the investing phase. So
yes, right.
Is your plan though, once you are kind of generating free cash flow, to kind of store that value in Bitcoin? Is that a plan yet, or is it too early to make that call?
It's up to discussion, because right now we are focusing on the market release. So all of our resources are kept right there, and let's see what the future holds.
Very cool. Awesome. Any last thoughts or perspectives before we...
If you're interested in our products or interested in these future solutions what we are developing right now, please feel free to check out our blog or our newsletter, because there's a lot coming next year in terms of future projects and future utilization of renewable energy. And yeah,
so the hashlink.at, we'll put all this stuff in the description of the video so the audience can go there, but that's the website. And if people want to get in touch with you directly, what's the best way to get through to yourself?
Yeah, we have 3 ways. The first possible part is to fill out our contract formula or contact formula, where we have implemented the values that are important for us to calculate the probably implementation of our products into your energy system. The second way is to just contact us via the office email, and the third one, you can contact me directly on the email of me written down on our contact page.
Very cool. Are you guys active on X or LinkedIn platforms as well?
Yeah, LinkedIn, X, Facebook, Instagram.
Very cool. And I guess you mentioned that you're focusing on the DACH region, like Germany, Austria, Switzerland, but for those people that might be in other markets in Europe, is there also value in them kind of learning about the technology at this stage? And if so, why?
Definitely. If they want to test out our systems also in newer markets, we can check the regulatories there, and if they're matching up, or if we just need to do minor changes, we're able to send those machines there, and maybe they also are getting invested into the topic Bitcoin mining or Bitcoin itself for optimization of their energy utility.
Awesome, man. Max, it's been a really great discussion. I feel like I've really learned a lot more about the Hashlink, the origin story, the technology, the problem it's solving, and I think it's great to see this kind of scale of application. That's something that can be applied in a lot of different settings. Really cool to hear about the growth story of the company, and really excited also to kind of follow the company as it continues to grow.
Thank you, Ted, for having me today.
All the best, and hope to catch up sometime in the next few months.
I'm pretty sure. Bye.